Hello everyone, Absent Friend here, and today we are going to start a brand new video series covering one of my favorite tabletop board games, Disney Villainous. In this game, each player gets to take on the persona of a Disney villain and cause all kinds of chaos to reach that villain's sinister goal. Even if you are not a Disney fan, you should still give this game a try. But if you are a Disney fan,
you are in for a treat.
The game can look pretty intimidating at first glance, but once you get going and play a round or two, it becomes quite simple to understand. Just be careful because after playing for a bit, you could get really addicted and just want to play it all the time. Now let me say up front that this is not going to be a how to play this game video. If you've never played the game before, I highly recommend that you check out Ravensburger's official how to play video following the URL that is flashing on your screen now. You can also check out a link in the description below. So let's just jump right into the ocean and lather up our tentacles as we are going to team up with Atlantica's favorite sea witch, Ursula.
Now look at me, wasted away to practically nothing.
In this video, we will be looking at all the cards in her deck with a few tips on how to play them or not play them, as the case may be. We will also be looking at Ursula's Fate deck for anyone who may want some tips and tricks on how to effectively keep Ursula from winning the game. Before we begin, be sure to subscribe to this channel and ring the bell to be alerted when any new episodes are available. Okay, rule number 1, always read the villain guide that is included with the game. It will explain how to play each villain and also give the player some ideas on what to do while playing. Okay, that's rule number 1. To win as Ursula, all she has to do is start her turn with the crown and the trident on her side of the realm and in the Ursula's lair location. To help her out, she has 2 allies, Flotsam and Jetsam. These slippery little eels can be activated to move a hero from that ally's location to an adjacent unlocked location. These guys come in very handy when you need to move heroes around to either free up some actions or to complete a contract. More on that later. Ursula should play one of these eels to the shore and the other eel to Eric's ship. Warning, do not play them to Ursula's lair or the palace. Don't do it. And those are her only allies. Sad, isn't it? But Ursula does have the use of several items to help her along. She has her objective items, of course, but also 1 cauldron and 6 binding contracts. Let's look at her objectives first. First off, the crown. Ursula needs this to win. She can also activate it to look at the top 2 cards of her Fate deck and either discard them or put them back in any order. Remember, look at means no one else gets to see these cards, so keep them secret, especially if you put them back on top. Use this item frequently to help control your Fate deck. More about the Fate deck later. Next up is the Trident. Ursula also needs this to win. As soon as she plays this card, find King Triton, he's in the Fate deck, and play him to the same location. Immediately attach the Trident to him, and then once he is defeated, the Trident will be returned to Ursula's side at the same location of his defeat. The next item is the Cauldron. Ursula should only play this item to either Eric's ship or the shore. And when it's activated, this can give Ursula 2 power for each binding contract in her realm. This is a great way to get free power and to keep her power supply well stocked. She can get a maximum of up to 12 power for this 1 activation. And now let's look at those binding contracts. Each one gets attached to a hero as long as they are not in the location specified on the card. But when Ursula moves that hero to this location, that hero is immediately defeated and turned into one of those cute little slug thingies. Remember, this is the only way that Ursula can defeat heroes out of her realm. Now let's look at all of Ursula's effect cards, of which she has 15 of them. 3 change forms, 3 whirlpools, 3 grow giants, 3 opportunists, 2 divinations, and 1 Poor unfortunate souls. I can't not use this card without singing it. Okay, here's how each effect works, starting with change form. This allows Ursula to move her locked token between the palace and Ursula's lair. This is good to use if you want more access to the move a hero action, or if you want to be able to fate your opponents every turn. Just remember that anything that is in either of these locations, when they get locked, also gets locked as well. Next up is Whirlpool. This effect lets Ursula move a hero to any unlocked location. Any of them. Great for fulfilling those contracts or just bring up some actions. Our next effect is Grow Giant. This allows Ursula to borrow an action from an adjacent location even if that location is locked. Ursula should use this at the shore so she can borrow any of the actions that are probably locked up at the palace. Next up on the list, Opportunist. With this card, Ursula can reclaim any item or effect card that is in her discard pile. This can be very useful, especially if something important was discarded by our next effect, Divination. Ursula will reveal cards from the top of her deck until a binding contract is revealed. That contract is put into her hand, while the other revealed cards are discarded. Remember, when you reveal things, all players will see them, including the binding contract you just put into your hand. Use this card wisely. And finally, our last effect, Poor unfortunate souls, in pain, in need. Oh, stop me or I'll sing the whole thing. Yeah. This card is very situational, but if Ursula happens to have 2 or more heroes with binding contracts next to the location where they will be defeated, this card could defeat them all in one swoop. However, don't hang on to this card unless you can use it right away. That's it for all the cards that Ursula can play during her turn. Now let's take a look at the condition cards that she can play out of turn. First up, Trickery. This card lets Ursula fate another player during their own turn, as long as they have 6 power. This card is very handy, but if you're dealing with opponents who don't hoard their power, just discard it. And the other condition? Arrogance. This one allows Ursula to draw 3 cards into her hand and then discard any 3 cards from her hand as long as another player defeats a hero with a strength of 4 or more. Unless Ursula can play this card before her next turn, she should discard it as soon as she can. And that's it for Ursula's villain deck. Now, let's dive into that fate deck. First up, the heroes. Starting with King Triton himself, the ruler of Atlantica. If he comes out in a fate action, play him, unless the other card is better. His only ability is that binding contracts and or effects that target him cost 1 extra power to play. If nothing else, he can cover up actions, but don't put any fate items on him until after he has the trident in his hand. Ariel, the Little Mermaid herself. She moves any unattached item to her location. While she is out, Ursula cannot move any ally or item. This is probably the best fate card in the deck. She can get those objective items out of Ursula's lair and keep Ursula from moving them back. Once Ariel is out, attach as many helpful items to keep her afloat for as long as possible. Don't worry if she comes out too early. There's a remedy for that. Eric. Prince Eric. Prince of something, I don't know. With Eric, you can move any hero to any other location as long as it's unlocked. He can be useful if the player pays very close attention to Ursula when she uses that divination. Note which contract she got and where it goes. Remember, the hero cannot be in the location where they are to be defeated. So you can move a hero like King Triton or Ariel to that location and at least will add an extra step or 2 before Ursula can off that hero. If you can do all that, Eric is a great card to play. Otherwise, flush him. Flounder, Ariel's naive little fish friend. Each time he is played, the Fator may shuffle Ursula's discard pile back into her deck. Remember, this is a May card, so the shuffling is optional, but it should be done every time. This can really foul things up if Ursula still hasn't found her objectives, but more importantly, it can remove her discard pile so she cannot get things out of there so easily. Grimsby, Prince Eric's steward or whatever he is. He has the option of moving the lock token to either Ursula's lair or the palace, depending on where it was previously. This is a great card to play because it can really mess up Ursula's plans, especially if she doesn't have a change form card handy. It can also keep Ursula from moving her objectives into her lair. Max, Prince Eric's dog. Just like in the movie, he doesn't like Ursula very much. So when he is played to Ursula's location, she may be moved to a different location. This is good to keep her from going to a space where she could do an action the other players don't want her to do. At least for a couple of turns. But if there's a better card to play, just play that instead. Scuttle, Ariel's ditzy oxygen-breathing bird friend. Whenever he is played, search the Fate discard pile for an item and attach it to him. That's it. Well, it's not too bad if there's a dingle hopper to put on him. Otherwise, just play the other Fate card. Sebastian, King Triton's personal crab. Sebastian is a great card for removing binding contracts from one hero and placing it on himself. Play him only when there is a contract to remove from either King Triton or Ariel. If he comes out at the wrong time, just play the other Fate card and wait for him to be brought back. That's it for the heroes. Before we move on, let me offer one little piece of advice on how to place heroes in Ursula's realm. Cover her discard action first, then her activate action, and then anything after that is bonus. Now let's move on to the Fate items. First up, let's look at the Snarfblatt. What's a Snarfblatt for? To blow bubbles, duh. When attached to a hero, this item increases the cost of playing binding contracts onto that hero by 3 power. This has got to be the best Fate item in the deck. Try to play both of these on King Triton because then Ursula will have to spend an extra 7 power to place a binding contract on him. And now the Dingle Hopper. Great for forking. Attach this item to a hero, and when Ursula moves to that hero's location, she must lose 1 power. This item is great, especially if you have a hero at the shore or Ursula's lair / the palace. This probably won't set back Ursula too much, but it's enough to give her pause on going to that location or not. Even better if you get each item in 2 different locations. Now let's move on to her Fate effects. She has only 3, and they are all the same effect. Return to form. This effect lets the Fator retrieve a hero from the Fate discard pile and immediately play it to Ursula's location. Remember when I said before if a hero comes out too early? This is the remedy. This card will help you get them back into play fast. Just pick whichever hero will cause the most trouble, Ariel, for Ursula and play them, Ariel. And that's it, ladies and gentlemen. I hope everyone found this video informative and even picked up a few pointers on how to better play Ursula or play against Ursula. If you guys enjoyed this video, please give it a like and don't forget to subscribe. Keep watching this channel for more Disney Villainous guides. But before we go, let me know in the comments which Disney villain is your favorite. This is your absent friend, signing off.